Hello. Let's see. Now what I want to do is I want to escape here. See what that does. Yeah. And I'm going to go. I want the option one. Yeah.
There's this guy who tweeted, I would literally marry Demi Lovato, and he's now engaged to Demi Lovato.
He said he would never marry Demi?
No, he said I would literally marry Demi Lovato.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. Well,
Where's all the info again? Let's see. Let's get my. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. All right. And you are, do you say Joan?
Sorry, I'm just borrowing someone's laptop. I'm Cameron Hunter.
Oh, okay. All right. Joan, Cameron, it's all the same. All right. How you doing today?
Good.
All right. We're just starting this out, and I'm technically, let's see, my daughter, who's 13, calls me a boomer. And that's where my, there she, okay. She came by to say hello. Anyway, how's your work going along with the class?
It's going good. I was able to receive my book after a few days.
Oh, right. You'd written me about that, right?
Yeah. So right now I'm just kind of working on a couple of other projects in class.
Uh-huh. That would be, you've finished the Artist Within, right? We got JC and we got Ken in the house. All right. JC, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm feeling kind of spoiled considering our last experience.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, I'm going to put that up there. So we're getting started here, just talking about some things. Ken, I enjoyed watching your YouTube.
You checked it out?
Yeah, I checked it out. We're doing a little construction stuff around here, so I felt like I was in the right wavelength for what you were doing there.
Yeah.
And it's
Great.
something that's very common. I do a lot of ceramic sculpture and pottery, and loading your hog, was that the one?
Yes.
Um, you did it as you demonstrated it. Your movements and your actions were so clearly cellular. You weren't thinking about it. You didn't have to focus. Every cell in your body knew exactly what had to happen.
Yeah, well, I've done it 1 million or 2 times.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens in sculpture and ceramics, is that when you do something conscientiously over a period of time, that's what goes on. Let's see, I think do we have anybody else coming in here? Let's see. Okay, that's not, I don't need that. So sorry guys, it's like I say, I'm sort of in a boomer fest here. I'm trying to make sure I'm not leaving anybody out. I think I've got it. Let me just check a few things here. It says that Amanda has joined us, but I don't see any indication of, apparently she's joined us. I just don't see any, let's see. All right. It'll all make sense to me soon, I'm sure. Okay. Let's see if there's anybody else. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys, hang with me for just a second here. Talk among yourselves. I'll be right back. I'm sorry about all of this. We'll talk about it in a minute. Let's see. Let's go there. And then.
I copied and pasted the code into a Zoom. I joined a meeting and copied it, and I was in I was in a different room.
Oh, really?
I was in a different room with other people. I copied the ID number.
Oh.
I didn't have that. I didn't click on the link that you had sent me just now.
Right.
I was just found the ID number and copied it, and then went to Zoom and joined the meeting, and I entered that. I just pasted it, in there, and I was in another meeting.
Uh-huh.
I told the lady, I hope I'm not, hope I don't have to come back here, so then I saw that you had sent me an email, and I was able to just click right on that link, and it took me here.
Okay, good. Well, that's excellent.
Oh, some people might be over there.
Yeah. Oh, here's somebody here. We got somebody, and yeah, that could be. That's what I was just wondering. I don't know where that other room is, but we have Allie joining us. Let's see. But I did get a note that Amanda was here with us, but she's not. So I don't know what that other space might be, unless it might be. Remember, I sent out a first meeting for Monday. Okay, can y'all? Let's see. Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So one of the reasons we're in this environment. Oh. Talk among yourselves. I'm going to talk about these interruptions in just a minute because it's fascinating. I'll talk to you in a minute. We'll be right there.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Good.
Going all right? It's all right.
All right.
You see the weather outside?
Yeah, you guys staying safe out there?
Yeah.
It's crazy outside.
I just woke up and I thought it was still night.
I know.
It's just an orange sky.
Weird. I had to go outside and, I was going to take a picture of it, but I guess I was just more intrigued by the whole thing. I didn't even take a picture. I mean, I really don't want to take a picture of that.
Can't really get I already tried. I tried to get the red tones and I couldn't even pick them up. It just looks like good gray sky. Doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, I was really curious. So I just walked outside. I wasn't expecting this, so I walked outside and I kind of, sniffed the air a little bit. I was like, "Ooh, this is bad. Let me go back inside the house." And I went back in.
Yeah.
I
Well,
assume.
outside, it just looks like it's still night, and I was wondering my clock was malfunctioning or not, and said look 4 times that it looks like a dark orange,
Yep.
like it's still night.
Mhm.
Oh, let's see. Hi there. Hi, everybody. Okay, got somebody else to admit. Paulette is coming in. That's great. So, hey, Paulette.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So just a few comments for those of you who were here earlier. You can see I'm dealing with
chaos.
my daughter's needs, and so she's taking classes, and her first request was that I had to close all the windows on my computer because our internet can't handle everywhere that I am, and she's getting thrown out of her class. So I imagine you all have similar distractions, and that's why the class itself is designed asynchronously. So you can visit the class and work along and progress at your own pace, because Ken might be working during the day and then be free at night. Cameron, I know you do the late shift at the state capitol, making sure that the governor is safe. So, I'm just making things up actually. But anyway, whatever your life situation is, I'm finding that, having my daughter at home, my wife is also teaching. She actually has to leave and go to the school so that we have a little bit room on the internet. So it's just, things are pretty crazy. Is that pretty much well reflected in your lives as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And maybe we could take a minute and just, if anybody has anything to share about what's going on with your lives in the fire, or anything that's happening with the COVID challenges. Is there anything that you can tell us about that? You want to tell us?
I'm
Well,
taking. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Taking care of 2 family friends' kids for I don't know how long until everything passes, because they both have to work and they can't like have them home alone. And I have Wi-Fi, so they're downstairs right now. I have to like cook them breakfast and get them away and do school stuff. So it's a challenge.
Wild. Okay, so you're like godmother for a couple of kids.
For right now, yeah.
Impressive. All right, Paulette, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know, when the last assignment, I had just moved. And so my dad passed and we sold the house. And so we had to move.
Right.
And so I just moved right before school started.
Yikes. Yeah.
And so I'm still, we're not moved in quite yet, but we're still trying to get stuff here. And so doing the last project, I was like, okay, I got to try and find stuff because I have nothing here.
Right.
I mean, I brought a few art supplies with me, but, I didn't want to have to go spend a lot of money, doing those.
Right.
So I had to really think about what I had here. And so it's been a little bit difficult still trying to move in and trying to keep up with schoolwork, but it's okay now. I'm trying to keep it on track.
It's going to make you even better if you have to use recycle.
Recycle?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really true, that most of the assignments in this class can be handled with things you can either find, or there's scraps, or,
Yeah.
the texture assignment here. This actually was a chopped down fig tree that, I don't know if you saw my little video of talking about how this was done.
Yeah.
But actually the final texture was achieved by letting my dog chew on it. So, yeah, and there she is. Wait a minute, let me introduce you to the artist. Wait a second. Vanessa, come here. Come here. Let's see if I can get it. Come on. Come. Here she is.
Shy.
Maybe she can do a little more work. You want
She's camera shy.
Is this your stick? My stick.
She's done with that.
No barking. Okay, so we have somebody working on the house, and so she's a little disturbed about that. So she'll sing for us anyway. So that's a technique. But to get back to the point, I think probably the most expensive aspect of this class is the purchase of the book. and I've worked very hard to find you solutions that are not expensive, because when I first found this book, it's so well written in terms of really giving you the basic information about 3D design. I wanted to use it. And the first year I used it kind of like any teacher would. I ordered it in the bookstore and everybody bought it. And then it was like $85. And so I actually contacted the publishers and I talked to them. I met with them and I said, look, this book works for me. It's about the size of a New Yorker magazine, which I can get on the stand for $12, but you're charging $85. And I could understand some markup, but it also comes with a CD that we never use. So maybe get rid of the CD and drop the price for us. So the next time they brought it out, they got rid of the CD and they raised the price to $110.
Wow.
So then I came up with this idea of, the other thing they do, they're pretty mercenary. So what they do is they release a new edition and they might put a little bit more information in, but usually they just shuffle around the chapters so that you can't use several editions at once because it would be too confusing. So they're very thoughtful about how to make sure that it continues to make profit. But what I figured out is if I tell you which edition to buy and I use the one just before the one that's now out, there's enough used out there that you can purchase them used and save yourself a tremendous amount of money. So that's what I've been doing. So I hope that works for you. And in terms of materials, let me grab you an example here. Hang on a second. I'll be right back.
I rented my book for $45.
Oh, that's good.
You think
that's a good price? Good? Yeah.
I'm 52. I could have bought it.
Yeah, I got mine used too, but I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I got mine used as well.
Did you get it from Amazon?
No, I got it through the link that he, it was through Amazon. Yeah, it was through Amazon. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to show you, this is a little bit difficult to show, but this is an assemblage piece, which is, I think it's the 4th assignment in. It's a little dusty, hang on a second. Been around for a while. Anyway, so, and it goes on, it's got a little more going on to it. So there's something hanging down here. There it is. There you go. Anyway, it's not how I usually display it, but anyway, we'll talk more about these and what they're about, but there is nothing on here that I paid for. Everything is as, what did you call it, Ken? Recycle?
Recycled art.
All recycle. And it's very responsible, very green art in that sense. But you can do a lot of beautiful things with materials that are around. And literally, I had a student in this class who was a wonderful woman who was the first homicide detective on the Fairfield Police Force, first woman homicide detective on the Fairfield Police Force. And after class, about 6 months after class, I got a photograph she sent me where she was on Highway 80 with 2 orange bags. And she said, I was working a murder scene. The bag on the left is for evidence that I find as we're looking around to see for evidence. And the bag on the right is things that I'm interested in making art with that weren't evidence.
Wow.
Just picking, and you can do that, pick things up off the street. If depending on your philosophy, I have spent quite a bit of time in dumpsters, and there's all kinds of places to find art materials. We'll talk more about that, but so that goes to that point a bit. And the other thing, Paula, you brought up a lot of good stuff there. One of the things you're saying is you just moved. So timing wise, there's a couple of, there's Amanda. Okay, we got somebody joining us. Timing wise, it is possible that you may not be able to make the first couple of assignments on time if you've been moved because of the fire, if you have something else going on, if life is crazy for one reason or another. So these first few assignments, if you have difficulty making the deadline, the class actually closes it out, so you can no longer submit it. but you can submit it directly to me on an email, and I can give you some credit for it if that
Oh.
you need that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hey, Amanda, welcome. Did you go somewhere else first?
I did.
Where was that?
It was the first.
Oop. The first meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, I wondered about that. There may be some other people over there. Hopefully they're getting to know one
Possible.
another.
Yeah.
Okay, so other than that, how are the projects going for everybody?
Okay.
Started anything else yet, to be honest?
Well,
Yeah.
I haven't started anything else. Let's see, I'm thinking the first assignment, the little squares, meeting the artist within, everybody did a fantastic job on that. And it's a fairly direct and simple concept. Oh, there you go. Sorry about that. I thought this was off. God, that's terrible. My phone made noise. Okay, I'll figure that out later. Everybody did a great job with that. And that whole idea is just to notice in a fairly simple, direct kind of prompt, which is you get a square and you arrange these 3 squares, that bizarrely enough, you do have preferences. That when you move those little squares around, one position looks better or feels better than another. And that one little kind of quiet voice of preference is a lot of what drives artists throughout their whole careers, is just being able to move things around and look at it and go, yeah, that's the way I like that. So so that was just the first time I've tried that assignment. You guys did really well with it. And then, as I showed you, the tech. If you don't have a dog, you'll just have to find other ways to texture things. So there's that. So who started on the texture project so far?
I did that one.
Amanda's done it, and Allie's done it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that particular assignment I used to do with clay. There are a few assignments that I have done in the past with clay, and I don't do them this time because clay requires firing, which would require bringing it to school, which gets the whole college very upset. So I have to be careful about minimizing that. I'm looking for new ways to do it, and the wood seems to work out just fine. It's a new material to play with, and it's readily available, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I really recommend something that works really well is, going into a Home Depot and saying, I need like 8 inches, I need like 4 8-inch pieces of 4x4, and I'm wondering if you have a scrap bin I can use. And then you somewhere in there you say, I'm just a poor art student, and usually if it's not Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace, somebody will have it. Or if there's a construction site near you, there's materials just lying around that you can ask for, and they're just scrap. And actually, I don't know how it is in Ken, you might know this kind of thing, but in Davis, if you're doing any kind of construction or remodel, you have to, I think it's up to 80% now of the scrap has to go to recycle. And you actually have to fill out a form indicating, like, if you tear the drywall off a room, if you tear up the linoleum, how did you recycle some of that, or where did that go? And you have to document it. So they would love to have a document saying, I gave it to an art student. So you could use that. So that would work out well.
I went to Home Depot and found in their scrap pile, and he cut it for me. Nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always love it when those little kindnesses occur. All right. So another thing I wanted to mention to you guys, which is a great opportunity for those of you who have Friday the 18th of September free. There's an event coming called Kaka, which is the California Conference for the Advancement of Ceramic Art. And our college has been participating in it for the entire 33 years that it has existed here in Davis. And now for this year, it's virtual and it's free. Normally it costs about $200 to be involved, but the gallery owner, John Natsoulis, is offering the basically 8 workshops from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. On Friday the 18th for free. And you just, you have to go and register, and they'll send you a link, and then you can attend virtually, and you can watch. I think I know 6 out of the 8 artists quite well, and they're fantastic ceramic artists. So they'll be working with clay, and they'll be demonstrating how they do their work. There are 3 at least really remarkable figurative artists, and there are there's 4, maybe 4 artists. They're just really great, wide-ranging ceramic artists, and you can watch them work and participate in the workshop virtually for free. This normally costs hundreds of dollars, so it's a great opportunity. I put an announcement on your course shell there, and you can see it, and it has the information about how to go to the site and register. So if you're at all available, I really recommend it. It's our first virtual field trip. Pretty exciting.
Okay.
So, has anybody taken an online class before?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Same.
Last semester, all the classes were online.
Right, but halfway through, right?
Yeah, halfway through, yeah.
Okay. So as we move along, so I've been teaching a long time, and this is literally my first experience teaching online. And so if you see things that you think could, that you've seen done in a different way that might work better, feel free to drop me a line or call me or let me know in any way you can. Offer suggestions, because I'm really trying to work this out. It's kind of fun to have a new challenge, but it's a lot of challenge all at once. So there's that. Okay, so let's see, I can show you a few things here. We've talked about, I've shown, there's a video of me I put a little video on showing you the results of the texture assignments, right? Has everybody seen those, or?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Because I've got the little suspects right here, all of them, but I'll just set those aside. And talk to you a little bit about assignment that has literally never existed before that I'm excited about, and that is the mask assignment. So obviously we're all wearing masks. This is one of I got this for my birthday. Somebody gave me this kind of very, very nice.
Right on.
Yeah, it's a nice image there. And so been wearing that. And I don't know. So I think it's a sign that not enough people go to college, but people have opinions about whether or not they should wear masks. I don't know if you guys have that too. It's quite possible. But I've talked to seemingly rational people who think it's okay not to wear masks in public spaces. And I think that is a reflection of the ongoing attack on science and such. So I'm kind of skipping over all of that by saying we're going to make a mask, and you're going to have to wear it in a public place, and you can make it about anything, and it can be anything. It can be humorous. I've put some pictures up that I think are hilarious, and I wanted to show you what I'm working on, because a lot of times I'll work on these assignments together. I found, sometimes I see something and I go, oh, I can use that, and I buy it. And this is a box of what is this? This is called, they're blood collection tubes. And this is kind of a cautionary tale for you guys, right? Because you're entering in a world where someday you may walk into like a secondhand shop and you might see a box of blood collection tubes and go, oh, that's something I could use. So that's for some of you, especially in some of your relationships, that could be a problem. So think about that. But so there are these little stoppered, there are these little stoppered tubes And so I took those, and then I printed up photographs of people who have passed away from COVID-19, who have died from COVID-19. You went online, and then I rolled them up. I don't know if you can see that. I rolled them up and put them in the tubes.
Mm.
Okay, that's the start. And then, you know, and these tubes cost me like, you know, $3. And then I don't see if I have one, but I can show you this. Then these are called, you see on the end of that tube there, that's called an eye screw.
Mhm.
A screw eye screw, something like that. And so what I did was I then because it's soft rubber, I could just push it in and just turn it. And a lot of the things, you see, I've done a lot of them. And so now it's got a little loop on the end, and I've done quite a few of them, as you can see. Well, you know, put on a good movie, and then away I go. And then that has led, then I started sewing, and I'm not done yet, but I can kind of give you a midway. Here's a little photograph of one of the people who's passed from COVID. So
Oh, whoa.
so it's
Oh, wow.
gonna get filled in. But this is where I'm going. You see the needle is still, I'm not done yet. I'm still sewing. So, but this is where I'm going. It's pretty intense. And it's just this idea. And it actually was inspired in part by a student who took this class, and she made a sculpture. She actually was on the same field trip where we found the blood tubes, and she found these other little glass tubes. And she made a sculpture. It was 2011. And she's actually, it's the same student. It was the woman who was the police officer, and she took the tubes and she put photographs of people of first responders who died at 9/11, and then she built a sculpture, a twin tower sculpture out of weld wire, and then she tied all these tubes onto the sculpture, and it was very powerful. And actually, it was adopted. It was eventually acquired by a fire station in Fairfield that now puts it out in their display case every 9/11.
Wow.
So, you know, these things, the things you do can go all over the place. And so, and now I'm inspired. I wrote her and told her about that I was doing something that I would show her pictures of. And this one is particularly topical because, you know, I've been, over the summer, I did a few travel adventures where I rented a RV, which I've never done and never hope to do again. But the idea is I wanted to go down and see my family, and I wanted to visit them, but stay socially isolated so that we would all be safe. And so they're down in LA area and Palm Springs. So driving this RV, and you get out in the world, and I saw, like, we'd visit a beach and we couldn't get on the beach because people were not socially distancing. They weren't wearing masks. And it was really an extraordinary place. And then when I went to return the RV, I had this conversation with the owner of this business that rents RVs, and he said, "Oh no, masks don't do anything. They don't do anything at all. They're just, you know, they're useless." And then he started telling me stories like, I know a guy who died in a motorcycle accident, but they tested his blood positive for COVID, so they put the death down as COVID.
Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, but you know, we're up to about 190,000 deaths at this point, and so even if it happened 100 times, it's not a significant number compared to, you know, what's happening with COVID and whether or not you should wear a mask. So I thought, rather than try to discuss it with him, this mask would kind of be a really good rebuttal if I were wearing this and talking to him, saying, well, all these people disagree with you. So anyway, that was part of the inspiration there. So, and I'm working on another one. I don't know if I'll have it done in time to show you guys, but so that's the mask assignment. Any comments, questions, thoughts? Has anybody else thought of something they might do?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out right now.
Yeah, trying to figure that out.
Do you have any
Yeah, I know. I'll go ahead, man. My bad.
Do you might have any recommendations for any particular mask that we could probably design or just use as inspiration?
Well, if you go to the module on the masks, there are several examples there, and there are several. Where else are they? There are actually several videos on how to make the basic mask structure to start with, because you want your mask to be functional as well in the world to work as you use it. The other thing is you can do what I'm doing here. Rather than make the mask, I just went online and found three masks for a very small price. I don't know, it was like $10 or something to get three masks. So my foundation is already a functional mask. I don't have to sew that or make that. But I have instructional videos on how to make a mask if you want to do that. And there's some articles about that, as well as pictures of things people have done. I have really wanted to get a hold of one of my daughter's stuffed animals and kind of flay it and then just kind of wear it. My daughter, I've done that a couple of times. I see a toy that she has and I turn it into a work of art and she gets very upset. So I don't think so. That's not good. But that might help. By the way, for those of you who came later, you see the note Joan Wallace. That's Cameron. That's not Joan. That's Cameron. Because he's borrowing somebody else's Zoom account or something, right? Is that about right? A computer or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So does that help a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have fun with these things. You know, play with them. I mean, mine is a relatively serious, but you can get humorous. There's one example I put up in the class of somebody who basically used a tennis shoe. Which is quite a good look, I think. Wish I'd thought of that. So.
I like the little tent.
Oh yeah.
The tent seems functional. I thought about getting a helmet, maybe with the tube coming out the top.
Right.
The glass helmet or plastic clear helmet.
Right. So it gets very
like a motorcycle helmet. You know, I mean, plus you'd have to get the mask actually that pulls up from the neck, you know, and cover your face like this. You could do one of those, you know. Covers your face like that. I have my prototype right here. It's a piece of paper. I've been kind of doing a little bit of research, you know, on how to make a mask.
Yeah.
And it's pretty neat, you know. So I think I'd kind of like to make one because I've never made one before. And they're real simple if you just do the basic mask, just a piece, you know, like a T-shirt that you cut up, because cotton is functional for COVID. The cotton material is functional for COVID, and just fold it up and a couple of big rubber bands, you know, to go around the ears, and then you can decorate it with whatever. So this right here is just like a piece of paper to kind of explore a pattern, you know, patterns with, make disposable, doesn't cost much. You know, I just tore this. This is kind of a lightweight paper, and then I have some heavyweight paper, but this is just a prototype, so the heavyweight is more money, you know, it's more expensive for the heavyweight paper. And then you can use the heavyweight paper, like even taking a box. That's what I thought you were going to do with that box of the blood tubes. You know, so just taking a box, because I was looking around for like something that I could actually screw into, you know, like maybe a coconut, you know, taking like half of a coconut, putting that over, then, you know, and then ultimately using an actual mask and going over the coconut or something, you know, drilling holes in the coconut so you can actually breathe, right? But being able to have a hard surface so you can screw into, you know, so you can have some things kind of hanging off of it like you do with your mask. But anyway, so that's just kind of what I'm thinking about
Yeah, and
doing.
the helmet, I mean, if you have a helmet that you're talking about that is one that you can afford to throw, you know, to work on, you can screw into that and add things. And that's really where it starts to get quite wonderful, is you can start adding things. And I've put some videos about masks in general in different cultures, because in a sense, we're becoming a culture of masks. And, you know, there are cultures throughout indigenous America, throughout Africa, throughout New Zealand and Australia. There are cultures who are mask cultures, and they masks have played a role in their spiritual life or their community life for generations. And now we're sort of, for the time being, we're becoming one of those. And I thought, just contemplating the connection that you know, every culture has reasons for wearing masks, and they're all different. And now we have one, so, or two or three. So it's kind of interesting to just play with those ideas and see what comes up. So,
Yeah.
all right.
I started off trying to do a paper mache mask, and that didn't work out very well. So I ended up going with just paper for a
cool.
plague mask.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, and then some scraps of paper, scraps of cotton fabric that I got from a friend. So
That goes inside over the mouth, is that?
I'm gonna have to put a mask in it
Right.
as
Right.
part of the. I was gonna do that as part of the head strap, and attach it
Could
to the
you,
mask.
That's awesome.
could
Nice.
you kind of put that on your head and give us a profile? See what that looks like? Wow.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Great. That looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
There is a little bit of an echo of something that used to be worn, I think, during the Black Plague. Didn't they have?
Yeah,
They
it's
had
a plague mask.
plague mask.
Yeah.
So there you go. But yours is more colorful, more celebratory.
Yes.
Sort of Hawaiian or Jamaican plague mask.
I got one for my other half, wanted one too, and it's all black. So
Oh, there you go. Is it black and white, or is it going to be all black eventually?
right now it's black and white because I haven't finished putting the
Oh.
fabric on it, but I'll need to do some more embellishments and things too.
Nice.
That's
Hey,
nice.
can I see that black and white again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of dope.
Wow. That's nice.
Really good.
It
Yeah.
reminds me of Spy versus Spy. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
That's what reminds me of. That's really cool.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, I think that's, and go ahead and submit pictures of both of them in action. That'll be great for the assignment to see those. And just to kind of go over this again, every time you have an assignment, there's a, you need to submit the photographs of your finished pieces. In this case, actually you wearing them in public. In the assignment section, there's a place for you to submit those. And so you do that. And when you do that, I can see them, and that feeds right into the grading process. The other thing is that everybody else wants to see what you've done. So then you submit them on the discussion, and everybody gets to see the discussion. So that's why we do it in two places. And if you have difficulties with anybody having difficulty figuring out how to submit things, or have you worked that out?
I might have a small difficulty with it.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm actually trying to figure out if there's like a good scanner app whenever I'm trying to upload photos to the Canvas, or at least to the comments.
Right. So are you working on a computer with Canvas?
Yeah, that, and whenever I do some of the projects, I usually use this app that I've recently gotten, was the Genius Scan.
Okay.
So sometimes it'll usually upload the photos from my phone to the computer, but
Right.
other than that, sometimes it just doesn't make it into a PDF file or any. So I'm usually trying to struggle with that.
Right. So in order to upload them on Canvas, I don't know if anybody's done it from their phone, but I've done them. I get the photo on the computer somewhere, and then I can upload it. And then there's Canvas, there's always like 6 steps when you need 2. What there's a method of doing it. And what I would recommend if you're having difficulty, first go to YouTube, that cultural center of our lives, and type in, how do I upload a photograph in Canvas? And you'll get like 40 videos that'll explain it. And that should show you how to do it in a way that allows you to, if you use the word embed, I think you'll get better. How do I embed a photo in Canvas? And that will give you some really great guidance, very short videos that'll show you how to do it. If you have any difficulty on anything at any time, you just send me an email.
All right.
That's what I'm doing these days, is just writing people back. So that's it. So, all right. So let's see. Good. So anybody else have any questions, comments, suggestions? Good jokes?
I think it was good to be able to hear everybody's or some people's ideas on what they're doing. So now it's a little easier to think about, for the math assignment.
Right.
So that's some great ideas about using the paper as to start, or to just as a design tool, and to draw it out first. And then I like Amanda's face mask. So that gives me some good ideas about, maybe what I want to do now.
Right. That's great. And these meetings these kind of open office hours will be here every week. They'll be on Mondays. And as long as you guys are here, you get full power here. Would you rather they be at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock? I think, Ken, 9 o'clock is better for you. Is that accurate?
10.
Cameron says 10.
I would say 9.
Okay, we got
either one's fine.
So I'm just pointing to where you are in my computer, but we have 9, 10, and either. Anybody else weigh in?
No, I'm fine with either or.
Okay. All right. So I know, Cameron, can you make 9 if I do them 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know Ken has some work conflicts that come up. So I'm going to shift them to 9 a.m. on so every Monday. But you don't, if you have something that you need to be figuring out, you can write me. And I've been pretty good. Unless it comes in late at night, I've gotten back to it within an hour or two. So I'll keep trying that way to keep that going. But also, if there's something you're working on and I need to see what you're doing, we can do a Zoom share. We can just do a Zoom meeting, just you and I, one-on-one, to work through any particular problem you're having. I'm very dedicated to making this actually seem like, to bridge this gap of the virtual experience as much as possible. That's what these meetings are about. That's what my responding to emails as quickly as possible are about. You may notice that when you turn in an assignment, rather than just writing and grade and moving on, I'm putting in a little video talking about just some comments about your assignment, because I want to have as much dialogue and connection and conversation as possible. People have asked me how it's going with teaching online, and so far I'm really positive about it, in the sense that it's much better than dying. I think it's really great. It's a great option, and so I think that's really good. But the other thing I've said is just to capture the emotional experience. I say it's kind of like hugging without arms. So that's the way it feels right now, and it's not a bad thing. It's brand new, and the great thing about being an artist is that you're constantly putting yourself in unfamiliar situations, so that you can. And the thing you learn after you've been at this for a long time. And it's the same thing, Ken, with the way that you were handling that mud, is that there was a time when it was really difficult and awkward and messy for you to be working with that material. You can barely remember that time, because what happens is—
I was going to go home.
What's that?
I remember when I was going to go home at lunchtime because I couldn't do it.
Right.
So long ago. But I remember that day. I was
Yeah.
going to leave at lunchtime. I was like, when lunchtime gets here, I'm out of here because I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then I went and sat in my truck at lunchtime, and then I don't know, I just went back at it, you know, after lunch. I just went back to work, you know. I didn't know where I was going to go, you know, so I don't know why I went back at it, you know. I just went back and kept persevering, and then the rest is history, you know. I never looked back, you know.
Right.
And
Are you cement and stucco, or do you do concrete and stucco, or are you?
I don't do concrete, no.
Oh, okay.
Just basically exterior stucco, but we do high-end plaster as well. But around here, the Solano County, you go over to Napa, that's when you get the high-end stuff, you know.
Right.
But like Davis, that's where I work, you know, Davis, Fairfield, Vacaville,
Right.
and it's all exterior stucco. That's
Right.
That's all I do.
Right. So the point in all that is that I was looking. Ken has some YouTube videos on like they're great. They're 1 minute YouTube videos on how to deal with stucco and such. And I was watching them, and there's one video in particular I was looking at that shows so clearly how facile he has become with the material, how familiar he is with it. And as artists, we always start out totally not knowing. Like Amanda, you said you started with paper mache, and it didn't work. But you persevered, and you're resilient, and you said, well, how about this? And you moved into something else, and we love it. So, you know, that's what happens. You go at something, and as artists, we will, if we're not yet, you get familiar with being comfortable when nothing makes sense. You go into a situation, it's all brand new. You don't know any of the rules. You don't know any of the tools. You don't know any of the materials, but you're going to make it work. And you try this, that doesn't work. Okay, we'll try this. Well, what if I put this together and that together? And then until somebody throws you out, you're in and you're doing it. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about this whole online experience, is that it's a brand new way to express ourselves and to find things to do. And I'll tell you, one of the advantages for you is, you may have noticed, I can talk and keep talking. And so what happens is, you can watch my demonstrations, and if I start telling a story that isn't particularly interesting, you can just move me along. And face to face, you can't do that, right? So that's an advantage. And if I say something clever now and again and you miss it, you can go back and get it. You can just move the video around, and that's a real advantage. So we have that. So we'll figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see, where are we at here? We're I'm going to hang around just in case anybody shows up until I'm here till 10. You're welcome to talk. I'd love to hear from you guys what you're up to, but if you need to go, you can. Certainly.
Okay, roger that.
All right.
Okay, see you on Monday, right?
See you on Monday, right?
Okay.
Yep.
All righty.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hi.
Probably the first time I've actually done a Zoom meeting, so
Yeah.
it's really nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, Cameron. One of the things when I'm doing Zoom meetings, a lot of times I'll just stay on as people are signing off, and then whoever's left, we have a little conversation of some kind. So that's sometimes fun to do if you're in that. So what's your background in art, guys? Have any of you done art before?
I've taken an intro to drawing class during the summer, and I ended up enjoying it. I was able to use the back deck of my house, and I've been able to create some pretty good stuff. Mostly with the materials I've been given with pencil and charcoal.
Right.
Charcoal's messy. It's hard.
Right.
But it is a little satisfying.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm working with watercolor right now. I have like 5 commissions I'm trying to finish. I'm like babysitting, like that. It's been fun.
Commissions in watercolor?
Yeah, for some people. I don't know. One of them is a skate event in Santa Ana that has to promote social distancing and like Halloween characters. So that one's been a doozy.
It's a watercolor image that promotes social distancing and Halloween while on roller skates?
Yeah. Yeah, so that one's been a doozy.
I want to see that when you get that one done.
I have a sketch of it somewhere. Let me find it. Oh yeah, here. Because some people ask for really weird stuff, so I don't know. Those ones are taking me longer. This is what I've got so far.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know if you, I'm not going to put the 6 feet, but I was like, I don't know how to show them farther apart. So
you should use actual feet.
That's a great idea.
That's what class is for. You can throw out ideas. Do you have an example of something finished?
Huh?
Do you have an example
of
something finished?
I have a whole portfolio. You mean like old stuff?
Watercolor.
Yeah, I have a portfolio.
By the way, I think watercolor is the antithesis of charcoal, right? Charcoal is kind of a very physical. Let's see. Who's that guy?
I don't know. Just I have character design kind of style. Sorry for the vulgar.
Nothing vulgar about that. Grandma.
Yeah.
These are wonderful.
Thank you.
Just so wild, and they're just filled with a kind of juxtaposition of things you don't expect to see next to each other.
Thank you. I don't know if you guys want to see all of them, but sorry again.
No, don't apologize. This is very important. You don't apologize. Just don't. Yeah. Yeah, these are fantastic.
Thank you. I just sold this one to a tattoo shop too.
Oh, do they end up using these as tattoo designs?
Yeah, so actually this shop is gonna, I have to buy a couple frames. They asked if they could just display them for people to get inspired for tattoos and stuff, so I thought that was cool.
All right. Do they purchase them from you, or are they just borrowing?
Yeah, originals go for $150 usually. And then I'll do commissions depending on detail, how much detail you want. They go from $100 to $150.
It looks like it takes a long time.
It takes forever. It takes so long because I usually do a lot of tiny little details in the background and stuff. Like one of them that I'm working on, I have a bunch of little messages hidden everywhere, so you have to really look for them. Would
you say 50 hours on one of those? Or?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, depending on my patience though. Sometimes I'll just pop one out, and that burrito one took me an hour and a half.
Right.
So if I can actually have the time to sit there and do it, which I don't usually have, it doesn't take long at all.
That's wonderful. Those are really impressive. There's a lot of interesting artwork. I think if you look at somebody like Francis Bacon, I think. Do you know Francis Bacon's work? You should look him up. A world-renowned, no longer with us, but a really intriguing painter, which I think has you have a sort of sense. I wouldn't say the dark side, but of alternate dimensions, sort of. And Francis Bacon.
Got it.
That's one person that comes into mind. So really, really great. How about you, Amanda? Where are you at in this art world?
I just kind of started doing some photography classes because I've always really enjoyed photography, and did darkroom when my kids were little, kind of stuff. It was mostly pictures of them. And then took a color class because I was interested in how to use color a little better in my photography, and it was with Jean. So we were doing a lot of painting. It's oh, this is kind of neat, and I really like the painting. And I took the 2D class and beginning painting this summer. So I'm kind of just at the beginning, but really trying to figure out what it is that where my focus is, art-wise. Yeah, so.
That's great. Well, as you keep working, your focus will emerge. It just occurs. In my case, I was pretty clearly always a maker. I was always a guy who put things together. I started at 12 years old, and I started because I was misbehaving at school, and I had shown interest in art earlier in school. But then what happened was the school went through a kind of they go through fads in education, and this current fad, they figured out when I was at school, they had within the last 10 years, they had basically every child in America got an IQ test, because IQ tests had been pretty much developed far enough along, and they had dropped in price, so they were very affordable. So somebody thought it would be a great idea to give kids all IQ tests. Then they had this data point, okay, this is your IQ. And then somebody else came along and said, well, if we look at, we have files on these kids from all their time in school, let's compare their performance with their IQ. And when your IQ was up here and your performance was down here, they called you an underachiever. That was their thing. And that became a whole movement, locating underachievers. And I was located. So what happened was my dad got a phone call. And he just got a phone call from the school saying, your son is an underachiever. And my dad is an engineer. So he said, well, okay, let's see, what's the situation here? They say he's got an IQ that's very functional, but he's not functioning. He's performing way down here. And what that tells me is that the school is not capturing my son's imagination. He's not capturing his interest. What's he interested in? And then he realized, oh, he goes into the garage and he takes all my stuff and he builds these things that just fall apart. So maybe I'll teach him how to make things so they don't fall apart. And he taught me how to silver solder and weld. And that was the end of it. I've been doing sculpture ever since age 12. And it was just this connection of, I had this urge, I had been building things and putting things together, and all of a sudden I had a way of making things that stayed there. And I just kept doing that. And, there's the first, I wouldn't want to show you anything from the first 3 or 4 years, 5 years, maybe 6 years. But now I'm very comfortably engaged in a full-time professional art life. And so it just emerges. It's not so much a matter of finding it. It finds you if you keep working. Pablo Picasso said, there is a muse, but she has to find you working. So it's in the momentum that these things.
So did you do your bachelor's in art also before you did your master's?
Yes, I went to a school at UC Santa Barbara. They had a little school inside the UC called the College of Creative Studies. And its premise was that there are people who even through high school and even before had already started working at a very high level. And so what they wanted to do is in every field, in art and music and physics and math and biology, in every field, if there were people who had been achieving at a very high level, they didn't want to bring them in at like freshman year and, have them start, working on introduction to biology when they could teach the class. So they made this class available, this whole college, and it was dedicated to very small class size. I had 6 or 7 people in every class, and no grades, and and most of the requirements, the general education requirements, were waived with very few exceptions. So I worked at the College of Creative Studies for my undergraduate, got a degree in sculpture, and then I went to Europe for a year, hitchhiked around Europe, and ended up in Paris and got into the big art school in Paris. And I was able to make sculpture there for a year while I also apprenticed in bronze casting. And I spoke French, so that made it easier. And then I came back and did my master's in the regular fine art department at UC Santa Barbara. So that was kind of my path. So, and then I came to Solano.
I've been kind of snooping at your other classes, the videos that you put on.
Oh, great.
But
are you
with
allowed?
huh?
Oh, you mean at YouTube?
On YouTube, yeah. And I was looking at what is it, the visions of art, your artistic vision or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So do you actually, you were talking about just, oh gosh, what were we talking about? Sorry, now I'm losing my train of thought. But just kind of working as an artist and getting into the scene. Do you really, oh yeah, you were talking about the different, what do they call it? Not internships, but the clay ceramic residencies.
Yeah.
So do you need to have gone through a master's program to really be eligible for those kind of things, or?
Not necessarily. And that's what that video that you're looking at, I'll talk about what that was. But to answer the residency question, they are interested in creating opportunities for people who are really dedicated to their art and who are really working on it. So if you can present yourself as a dedicated artist and you have a portfolio that they're interested in, there's a good chance. It doesn't help. It doesn't hurt to have other experiences. And then there's a kind of snowball effect. Once you've been invited into one residency, then you often are invited into another, if you pursue that sort of thing.
Do they provide stipends usually in that kind of thing? Or
there are every kind. There are kinds that you pay for, and there's kinds where they give you a stipend. I've done both. There's a lot of them in ceramics, which is the field that I do mostly. And they're every kind of residency. In fact, I have it's an out-of-date book, but back when they used to put this kind of information in books, I have a whole book on residencies here. But you can just Google artist residencies, and each one will have a list of requirements. And it's good to kind of, even if you're not quite ready yet or you don't have the background yet to be competitive, you can, if that's what you want to do, you start. Not only do you look at what their requirements are, but then you look at the artists that they'll always list the current residents and previous residents, and you get a sense for who they are and what they're doing. And that shows you a little bit of where you might want to develop if that's where you're going. That'll help you. The video you saw, there's an exercise I do for the portfolio development class where I ask them to gather artwork, images of artwork online that is, in particular, it is artwork that they love, but not just that they love, but that when they see it, it feels to them very much like it's coming from the same place that their own creation, their own artwork comes from. So a distinction, because I like all kinds of artwork, but there's a lot of it I would never even think of doing. But there's other art that I love, and it deeply inspires me the same way that my own art drives me. So I want them to put together a collection of those things and to look at them, because that's the family they belong in. And that's where their artwork needs to generate from those feelings. They're not imitating, they're not copying, they're not plagiarizing. They're empathizing with the work. They're finding the work empathizes with their own creativity, and then they find a way of making their work to sit comfortably among those. Yeah. And it's an idea from T.S. Eliot. But anyway, that's the assignment, and there's a couple of them out there already that are just wonderful. I've been looking at. So and what I did was a little bit different, because I don't know if you've been to my website, but you can see kind of some of the kind of work I've been doing. And so for me, the exercise is useful because I can take it and I can say, okay, if I'm looking for a new direction, what are some things I love that I care about, but that I haven't really exploited or developed? And so that's what that presentation you saw was about.
Yeah. I'm so sorry to cut off, but I have to get out of here.
Thanks for showing us your work, Allie. Great to see you. And
thanks for looking at it. Have a great day.
All right.
You too.
Okay, guys. So we'll call it until next Monday.
All right.
See you all then. And this is an optional thing. It's great to talk with you. If I can help in any way, come visit. You want to check out and talk with other students, come visit. That's what the Monday meetings are about.
All right.
Sounds good.
Great.
Bye.
Great. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.